Hello, everyone. Welcome to the WNEP Sports Spotlight. I am Courtney Harrison, joined by Eve Hernandez. Our pal Steve Lloyd has this week off, and it's hard to believe we're already at week 8 of the season.
You and I were just talking about it right before we started recording. We're like, we've done 9 of these podcasts already? I can't believe it. Playoffs are in a couple of weeks now. It's already the end of the season. I don't know how we got here so fast.
Time sure does fly. Well, before we get started, we have to make mention of our pal Steve. Steve was just inducted to the Northeast chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. A huge honor himself, getting the media award, 8 other inductees, and then a service award. It was a great night.
It was a great night. You and I were both there to see, the station had a table at Fiorelli's where the event was held on Sunday night, and it was a great event. I mean, being able to hear all of the speeches from everyone that was being inducted. I think there was 10 total people who were inducted. Everyone gave a speech. I'll say Steve had the best one.
I agree. I couldn't believe him picking out and telling stories about everybody.
That was the best part.
That was a cool
because there were so many people there, obviously, from surround the area, from all of the years' experience that they had. Steve just picking out like, hey, I remember the first time I met you. I remember when I met you. We talked about this. And he was just making all the jokes, telling people to download the WNEP app.
That was good. Yeah,
it was great. But congratulations to Steve. That was an awesome honor, and we were happy to be there to also see it happen as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive into this week 8 and some of the games we're looking at. I'm going to start off in District 2 here. I think there will be likely a lot of one-sided games across all the districts this week. But let's start with our number 4 team, North Pocono at Scranton. I think this might be one of those lopsided games. North Pocono is dominating the Lackawanna League right now. They're 3-0 in their division, outscoring their opponents in the last 3 games, 104 points to 33 points.
Wow.
It's insane what they're doing, but they have the talent to do so. So far this season, Chase Zimmerman has 498 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. Joe Brisky, 555 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Cole West, 571 total offensive yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 4 through the air. That's a lot. Yeah. I mean, these guys are on their game. They know what they're doing. And I must say, Scranton has given up 105 points this season. Wow. So compared to North Pocono scoring 104 points, I have a feeling this is what this game is going to look like. And then we've got number 14, Riverside at Carbondale. Riverside's only loss is to Lakeland this year, and they've won in blowouts in the last 4 weeks since. Carbondale lost to Lakeland, Dunmore, and Trail. They could take a 4th against Riverside unless the defense can put a stop to that Vikings offense. I think Holy Cross against Riverside this past week did a good job right out of the gate, slowing them down a little bit. But, of course, Riverside still put up 50-plus points. Yeah. So we'll see if Riverside can pull off another one or if Carbondale will give a little chase there. And then we've got number 9 Wyoming area at Lake Lehman. If you look at this matchup just based on the records, Wyoming area 6-1, Lake Lehman's 4-3. You probably expect it to be a pretty good game. However, the Warriors are clicking on all cylinders, and Lehman's wins have only come off of teams with 2 wins or less.
Okay.
So, the strength of schedule for Lake Lehman is they're playing weaker teams. So I have a feeling this is going to be a Wyoming area a game. They're clicking on all cylinders. You've got Gravine, you've got Muck, you've got Kopechne. The list of talent goes on and on. I think Wyoming area is going to be able to pull off another win this week, and that's what I've got in District 2. How about District 4?
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's go take a look at District 4. Our game of the week in District 4 this week is number 12, Southern Columbia at Montoursville. These are 2 6-1 teams coming into the week. Southern Columbia, an impressive win over Mifflinburg last week. Mifflinburg was ranked 11th, so they got them up in the countdown for that one. But Montoursville, 6-1 on the season, like I said. Montoursville, like how you kind of just mentioned with Lake Lehman, their strength of schedule, even though they're 6-1 on the season, they haven't really beat any teams, like I said, with more than 2 or 3 wins on the season. So for Montoursville, I think Southern Columbia is going to be their biggest test. I think it's definitely going to tell me more about the Montoursville team based on what they're able to do versus Southern on Friday night. Besides, rather, what they've done so far this season. Like I said, they haven't played that much talent, but Southern Columbia, like I said, impressive win over Mifflinburg last week. They have all the talent too. Braden Andrews, they have Hockenbrock doing great at quarterback. Blaze Kissinger on that team also. And that was a really impressive win over Mifflinburg last week. Their defense had 6 sacks on Chad Martin and the Wildcats fast teams. That was an impressive win for Southern Columbia. That's our game of the week this week. And then we're also going to look at Williamsport at number 5, Berwick. Berwick moves up to number 5 in our countdown of this week, 7-0 on the year. Poor Williamsport. They had Jersey Shore at home, and then they had Shamokin at home last week, and now they got to go on the road to Crispin Field and play Berwick. That's just a tough stretch of their schedule right there. Williamsport, Tevin Williams had a great couple of games the last few weeks. They put up 40 points against Jersey Shore. Unfortunately, only 7 against Shamokin. Shamokin had 5 interceptions in that game versus Williamsport. That's just, a tough beat for them, a tough ask for Williamsport to keep up with Shamokin. But they have, some of the firepower on offense to score a lot of points to try to keep up with the Berwick team. That's going to be, kind of difficult to keep up with. But I think if their offense can, get enough points and then on defense get off of the field to get the ball back to their offense is going to be a key to the game for them to win for that one. And then we're also going to look at number 3, Line Mountain at James Buchanan. Line Mountain moves up to number 3 in our countdown this week. Unfortunate news for Line Mountain. They lose their star two-way player, Max Johnson, to injury. A couple of weeks ago, he left in the first quarter of their game 2 weeks ago, and he did not return back from that injury. I'm not sure what the extent is, obviously. Wish the best for him going forward this season, but that's a really tough loss for Line Mountain. Sure. They had a really close win over a team last week, a 1-point win over a 2-3 team in Middletown last week, which is, you don't really expect that from Line Mountain. Line Mountain, usually you expect to roll over people, but not having Max Johnson in there, him doing what he can do on both sides of the ball. He has 4 sacks on defense, 8 touchdowns on offense for them this season. He's one of their do-it-all guys. So for Line Mountain, it's kind of hard when you have to replace the production for someone like Max Johnson. So usually maybe a couple of guys are going to have to, go in his place. And Line Mountain has a couple of guys. Dalton Shadle has had a good season. Bryce Meltz got in the end zone last week, as had Caden Dunkelberger. They all got in the end zone last week to try to replace that production. But James Buchanan, they're a 2-5 team. They've been struggling all season long. They only got 2 wins on the season. Again, that's a team that you wouldn't expect Line Mountain to have trouble against, but we'll see with how they come back from that losing Max Johnson there.
Alrighty, and let's go to District 11. We're gonna tackle this for Steve while he's out of here. We got a couple games to look at. Number 16, Minersville at Nativity. I think Nativity's been pleasantly surprising this season. But I have a feeling they're going to have a tough time with Minersville. I was going to say the same thing, Courtney. Miners are coming off a 43-0 win over Pine Grove. They had, explosive on offense as always. Dante Carr over there doing, running all over the field, doing all the things every week. But against Nativity, they had a couple of good games this season, putting up points in a lot of their games, keeping up with their opponents. But with Minersville, like we said, a 43-0 win last week, a shutout for Minersville. They've had a couple of shutouts so far this season. I think it's going to be tough for Nativity to keep up with them offensively. Yeah, and then we've got number 8, Williams Valley at Marion Catholic. A little bit of drama. If you haven't heard, Williams Valley's head coach Steven Sedesi resigned on Monday afternoon. You wonder, with all of that noise that's going on and what has been happening in the background, there's a lot of speculation that's been happening in the background, will that affect this team this week? Marion Catholic, they did a pretty nice job last week against Schuylkill Haven. They still lost, but however, they do have the weapons to be able to put up a fight. And if they see that weakness, I have a feeling that they're gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah, like speaking of Williams Valley, I feel like the last couple of weeks their wins were kind of closer than we expected them to. A 14-7 weird win over Tri-Valley. They lost to Haven, and we're talking about all the stuff that's happening with Coach Sedesi, what's happening with the team in the background. Maybe it has been affecting them the past few weeks, which we didn't even really think about until we saw the news come out on Monday afternoon. That's unfortunate, for Coach Sedesi and for the Vikings. I know they really bought into his what he had for his program there. The kids really bought into what he was laying down all season, or for the past 3 seasons. He's been there for 2.5 years now. I know he was he's an alum of the school. He was a quarterback at this school. I know that they really liked his system. He's a really great offensive mind, but we'll see if the Williams Valley is able to, get through sort of the distractions off the field, what's kind of going on. I know a couple of their players got into some trouble after the Haven game, too. There was some suspensions going on. So kind have a lot of things going on with Williams Valley right now. They're one of our greatest teams, though.
Absolutely.
They're one of the best teams in 2A right now. They've got, we know all the weapons they have on their team. It's just a matter of if they can get kind of over the extracurricular distraction, and they've got to play a good Marion team. Like you said, Marion is not a bad team at all. They've got, they had some tough games this season so far, but they're capable of keeping up. So that one will be interesting to see how that one plays out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then our Thursday night game going on, Blue Mountain at North Schuylkill.
Ooh, that's
going
a good
on
one.
while you guys are watching this. Maybe not watching this. Maybe you'll watch it later while you're at the game. But man, Blue Mountain's on a 3-game winning streak, and it's nice to see them kind of picking back up. They were slow to start this past week against Lehighton. They gave up some plays and a couple early touchdowns. I'm sure Coach Kutz will not let that happen again against this North Schuylkill team, who is fast and explosive. They scored less than a minute into the game against Bangor last week. So I think this one also another great Schuylkill League game this week.
Yes, definitely looking forward to how this one's going to play out. Two teams with the same record now. You mentioned Coach Kutz coming back. He's got this team kind of playing, I think, how he wants to kind of at this point of the season. They've kind of gelled together over the last few weeks. A few straight wins for them now. North Schuylkill, they've kind of had an up and down year. They've had some really tough teams, though. Both of these teams, Blue Mountain and North Schuylkill, have lost to the same opponents, Southern Lehigh and Northwestern Lehigh. So they got similar losses in that. But when it comes to Blue Mountain trying to stop the speed of North Schuylkill's offense, I think they'll, be up to the task. Just going to be a matter of who can score more points in this game. It's going to be really hard. It might be a shootout. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go, but I'm intrigued to see how that one's going to turn out.
All right, sounds good. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look back at what happened in Week 7 right here on the WAP Sports Spotlight. Stay with us.
The Wilkes-Barre-Scranton International Airport, AVP, is your gateway to everywhere. Start here with safe, convenient, terminal-connected parking, quick check-in, and short lines at TSA. Fly on American, United, or Breeze Airways and connect to destinations throughout the USA. You can go nonstop to Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philly, or Charlotte. It's that easy. When you return, there's quick baggage claim and parking nearby. You're on your way faster at AVP.
Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight. Courtney Harrison joined with Eve Hernandez. We're going to take a look back at Week 7, some of the games, some of the exciting close games I think we had in Week 7. We're going to start off with number 13, Southern Columbia, with a 21-14 win over Mifflinburg. You were there.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you saw.
Man, that was an impressive win for Southern Columbia, for sure. Definitely on the defensive side of the ball more than anything. 6 sacks on the day on Chad Martin. Chad Martin has one of the most, he's a 25th passing quarterback in Pennsylvania right now with over 1,100 passing yards on the season. They were from, the front end guys up front, from, to the linebackers to guys in the back end. All 3 levels, they were all doing exactly what they needed to do. I talked to Coach Roth before the game, and he said the number one thing going into the game is pass defense. Their cornerbacks and their safeties need to be on their game to make sure that they make Martin have nowhere to go with the ball. And he did not have anywhere to go with the ball all game. They were covering exactly how they needed to, and that allowed the pressure up front to get to Martin, to force, to create some sacks, force a couple of turnovers. He fumbled the ball, and then I know they also had an interception Southern Columbia did in that game. Very impressive on defense for sure. And then they held Mifflinburg to just 14 points on the day. That's something that no team has really done so far this season. And then on offense, having the ability to get a couple of extra touchdowns on there to put that one away. Brian Andrews had a couple of touchdowns to make it 21-14, and that was that. So that was a really great game for Southern Columbia. Really impressive win. Coach Roth told me also that they have a really tough 3-game stretch right now. It started with Mifflinburg. They play Montoursville this week, and then next week they play Bloomsburg. It's like getting that win versus Mifflinburg is kind of the tone setter and what they really needed to do to get confidence as we go forward for those other 3 games. But I talked to Coach Roth, and I talked to Aiden Hockenbrock before the game, which you guys can see right now.
Our run defense was outstanding all night long, and especially against the quarterback, the times that he tried to take off and run, big physical runner, and that was a big key in the game, the fact that we were able to get some pressure on him.
We knew today was a big game, and we can build off of this. I feel this is the best we've looked all year, just intensity overall. This is huge. Our defense played great. I mean, we knew we needed a pass rush. I mean, we have a great 4, 5, 6 guys. I mean, everybody's great on the defensive line. They got a lot of pressure. That was the key to the game.
This is a big win. Next week we play a very good Montoursville team followed by Bloomsburg. So this 3-game stretch is the toughest part of our schedule, and one at a time. And it's a great start tonight, and hopefully we can build on it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it feels like we're seeing the Southern Columbia team of years past, especially with this big win over Mifflinburg. Let's go to number 15, Pittston area, with a close win over Wilkes-Barre area. It wasn't that way. Pittston area, was off to a hot start. They jumped out to an early lead. Brody Spindler, Lucas Lepresto doing what we've seen them do all season long, making big plays, putting up the points, continuing to lead this offense for the Patriots. But Wilkes-Barre made a late comeback. Quarterback Jay Cow really was making some moves to get this Wolfpack team back into the game. But they fell just a little bit short.
Yeah.
But great news for Pittston on their homecoming night. I know that was a big win. I talked to Coach Russick before the game, and he said they just have to continue to keep doing what they do best, focus on what they do best, and they did a great job of shutting down the offense early for the Wolfpack.
Definitely.
And
that turnover that Lepresto had, too, ripping the ball right out of the wide receiver's hands, and he takes it and goes the other way. Thank you, that's mine. I thought that was play of the week contention, too. That was a great play from Lepresto.
Yeah, there were. I completely forgot about that one. But yeah, that was a very, very fun play to see happen. And congratulations to Pittston area for getting that win over Wilkes-Barre.
We have Lucas Lepresto, Brody Spindler. We have a whole bunch of seniors, and we just felt like we had to find ways of getting those guys the ball. We knew Wilkes-Barre was going to be a quality opponent, plenty of speed, and they kind of had a great game plan, and our kids just kept battling. So I'm very proud of them. We just keep fighting. We talk a lot about every play requires fight, and we let the scoreboard kind of take care of itself, and the kids believe that. And there's plenty of adversity to hit there in the second half, and obviously it wasn't pretty, but it's great to beat a really, really, really quality opponent, 6A program, Wilkes-Barre area, and first time I think here at Pittston we've ever beat them, and to kind of be where we're at as a program has been awesome.
Marion Catholic falling 55-13 against number 2 Schuylkill Haven. Schuylkill Haven continuing to roll over teams left and right. But Marion Catholic did give them chase. I think Coach Farr was probably a little worried, a little anxious at the beginning of the game.
That first quarter there, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, they started off with those the scoring 2 touchdowns early on.
Right. I know they had an interception in that game, a pick 6 to get the scoring started for Marion Catholic, but then Schuylkill Haven and their running backs just, do what they've been doing all season. Colton Reber, 8 touchdowns on the day.
Insane.
And an interception, a pick 6 in that game too. So 7 rushing touchdowns, and then he had the pick 6 on defense to get to his 8 total touchdowns of the day. Colton Reber, you don't even think that he's the number 2 guy there. They don't even have their number 1 in Nico Caracia. He's been injured since the beginning of the season. It's hard to believe that they have, they got Reber. They also have Nico Castillo, who's been doing great things on defense and on offense, too. You wouldn't even think that their number 1 guy is out with the way that they've been playing all season long.
I know. The depth in this team is insane, and, I'd be happy if I were Coach Farr, too. Colton Reber is, with those touchdowns, he finished with 8. He was one rushing touchdown short of a school record in this game. I'm sure he wasn't even thinking about that at the time, but
that's unbelievable. Nonetheless,
but a great win, and we'll see how much success they continue to have through this year. And then we had our number 1 team, Shamokin, defeating Williamsport. We kind of talked about that a little bit early on, but the Indians had a great game on both sides of the ball. Another name that we haven't gotten a chance to mention very often because we always seem to talk about how great Logan Steele is and how great some of those players are. Jace Gink leading the charge, 116 yards on the ground for Shamokin in the win. Big day for them as well.
Yeah, nice win for them. And like we said, their defense, getting 5 interceptions off of Williamsport definitely helped out. When we talk about Shamokin, it's usually we're talking about, Logan Steele or some great plays or their great defense. They're really great on the defensive side of the ball also. Being able to hold Williamsport to just 7 points after they put up 40 on Jersey Shore, a great performance for them, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then in District 2, we had Abington Heights defeating Scranton Prep in a really close one, 17-15. Abington Heights, once again, without Nick Bradley with his hand injury, but Noah Kale looks like he stepped in and stepped up, fitting right in, making some big plays. for Abington Heights, and pulling off a win over Prep. The Comets did a good job of slowing down Will McPartland and the Cavaliers' offense in this one to squeak out a win. I'm sure that was a huge confidence booster for Coach Repshis, knowing that even without his big weapon leading the offense and Nick Bradley, that they still can do it, and that line is holding strong.
Yeah, definitely an impressive win for Abington Heights, which I'm pretty sure I picked Prep to win in our picks last week, so that is one that I got wrong. But like you said, Noah Kale stepping in, doing a great job. He's a very athletic kid. I know he's on the baseball team also. That's kind of his main sport. He plays baseball for the Comets, but he did what he needed to do. A couple of long passes at the end of the fourth quarter to get into field goal range for them to kick the game-winning field goal ahead. I think it was a 30-yarder kick for their kicker to be able to go over Prep, and they haven't won against Prep in the last 6 years, so that's the first time in a long time that they've won against Prep. I know that they're very excited to have that win definitely this year,
and I'm sure they're going to carry that momentum and that excitement. I think that, like you said, it's a big confidence booster when you can beat a team that you haven't beaten in a long time. And then we had Warrior Run beating Loyal Sock 47-42. What a back and forth game. This was a wild one. Plenty of offense to talk about. We've got two great quarterbacks, James Keefe, Danny Dowell, equally matched. Solid running backs from Jaleel Coates had a game for the Lancers, 3 touchdowns, 168 yards. Denon Beachel, 175 yards and a pair of touchdowns for the defenders. Wild back and forth. I mean, it was even close at halftime, and even to the very end of the game, I think Loyal Sock had a chance, but third straight win for Warrior Run.
Which is really impressive for Warrior Run. 3 straight wins, and the Lancers have been, on fire lately too. After their win versus Bloomsburg, they've kind of taken that and run with it. They've have really impressive wins the last couple of weeks, but 47-42, just as back and forth. This was the track meet, just like every play from the first quarter on to the fourth quarter. It was just back and forth, back and forth. Who's gonna do what they need to do to make the plays at the end? So the defense were able to, Warrior Run's defense was able to get off at the end, and then kind of spoil a 3-touchdown performance for Jaleel Coates. Jaleel Coates had a great game for the Lancers, but kind of spoiled by Warrior Run's defense, and they were able to do what they had to do, just enough to get a 5-point win over the Lancers. Definitely an impressive win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing worth mentioning, we didn't get to cover this game, but Athens quarterback Connor Davidson had a great performance in their 54-7 win over Towanda. He threw for 250 yards, 6 touchdowns. He became the first District 4 quarterback this year to reach 20 touchdown passes.
Wow.
He's also on pace for another 1,000-yard rushing season.
That's amazing.
Great honorable mention there
Definitely.
For Connor. I hope we get a chance to catch up with them. I know it's
that would be great.
It's tough to be able to get up there, that part of the Northern Tier League,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll get a chance to see him in action. Let's get to our play of the week.
Ooh,
We've had a lot of great offensive plays this season so far. This week's a defensive one. We've got Schuylkill Haven's Logan Goad and Colton Reber sharing credit for this one. Goad gets his hands in the way of Greg Turpak's pass. He tips it, and Reber's there to catch it and get a good return. The drive is capped off with a Reber touchdown. We said both sides of the ball is what it's all about, and Reber doing great things on offense and great things on defense as well.
Exactly. Reber, we talked about it a little bit, earlier when we talked about the Haven game, but 8 touchdowns in that game for Reber. That one you just saw was one of the interceptions that he had. That wasn't the pick six. That was just the interception that he had. But Reber, too, a couple of weeks ago, I saw one of games that I thought could have been a play of the week was he had a punch out on the 1-yard line over Dante Carr to stop them from scoring. So Reber, on offense, on defense, no matter what, you do not want to see him. You don't want to try to take him down. You don't want to have your pass go in his direction. He's going to deflect it or stop it, do anything to make it not good for you.
Yeah, the Hurricanes held them to 14 total yards of offense in the second half.
Really impressive.
Very impressive. Great job. Congratulations to the duo for sharing this credit for our play of the week. When we come back, we're going to take a look back at one of our old pals, former head coach, the late George Curry at Berwick, and some of the people he has gotten a chance to chat with over the years. Plus, we are going to take a peek with the Wyoming area cheerleaders who put a lot of work into their season as well to cheer on the sidelines, and then our sports finale. All of that when we come right back. Welcome back to the WNEP Sports Spotlight. This is our section of the show, our part of the show where we kind of get to take a look back, open up the vault and pull out
archives,
and pull out some great ones. This one will be from 1989. Joe Zone got a chance to chat with the unicorn of a man who was George Curry. Special guy.
Yeah.
That leading that Berwick Dogs team, 3 national championships, 6 PIAA state titles. They're ranked 18th nationally for all-time wins.
Wow.
A storied career. So Joe got a chance to sit down and chat with George in his office about some of the people he's gotten a chance to meet. So take a look.
If you measure a coach by his wins, George Curry would fill a stadium. More than 200 of them in 19 years. Every one, it would seem, time-honored on a wall in the guidance office where he spends his school day, or on a wall at the field house where he spends his football day. Those walls will tell you a lot about George Curry, about his religious beliefs.
That's legit. That's legitimate. A fellow named Tony Sermonero and our Monsignor, my former priest, Monsignor Thomas Kajowski, were in Rome after the state championship game, and they had an audience with the Pope. Now, they do this about twice a year. So they told me they're going to get me a papal blessing, and that was a legitimate papal blessing given to me personally.
About his celebrity status in the entertainment field.
Her business manager was a former player of mine. Wade Perry is the youngster's name. He played at Slippery Rock, from Berwick to Slippery Rock. He became her tour guide, her tour manager, and he's been with her for years. So she has Berwick jerseys, Berwick T-shirts.
About that camouflage jacket he wears for every game.
Captain Larry Pruitt, former player of mine on West Point, gave me that jacket. He said, "Coach, I want you to have this." They won't mistake me with that jacket on. All right? I mean, there's a camouflage green jacket, and I put on white painter pants, and I put on a Weis potato chip hat. And the Weis potato chip hat, that owl's looking right at them. They look at the owl's looking right at my defensive captain. Now, there's no mistaking for Coach Curry.
There's no mistaking Coach Curry. No mistaking his commitment to the kids who gave him 4 years. The walls are a tribute to their successes, not his.
You give me your son in 9th grade, and I know in 4 years I'll make him a stronger person physically if he stays with my programs. I'll motivate him to make him stronger. I'll motivate him to make him a better student. I'll be on top of his grades. I'll motivate him spiritually. I don't care what religion he is. I want him to have faith in something. I will motivate that youngster athletically. And I think, in the end, you're going to get a better product.
George Curry will never run out of kids to mold, but he might run out of room. The victory tree set up whenever the Bulldogs qualify for state playoffs may have to come down to make room for the next batch of heroes.
All right, great stuff there. It's nice to see George's face again. He was a great guy. I'll never forget the first time I got a chance to go down there, meet him, interview him, and he said, "You can't leave without one of my T-shirts."
No way.
And I was actually just what their wetsuit T-shirts. And when I got a chance to chat with his grandson, CJ Curry, current head coach, right, a couple weeks ago, I told him it was lost in the sauce. We moved, and I just happened to find it 2 days before I went down. I'm like,
what?
It must have been meant to be. It must have been George telling me I needed to go do a story on his Bulldogs.
That's so funny.
And we talk a lot about football and the football teams and the players and coaches. A lot can be said about the cheerleaders who are also there giving up their, to cheer on their team, win or lose. So one of our photographers, Mariah, got a chance to go and catch up with the Wyoming area cheerleaders, and we got a chance to put it together for you. So take a look at how they get ready for a big game.
The pom-poms are sparkling, the people are cheering, they're yelling, the flags are waving in the air. Just the excitement, and it's a feeling. It's a special feeling.
Before the Friday night lights are lit and the victory bell is rung here at the home of the Wyoming Area Warriors in Luzerne County, there are a lot of student athletes getting ready. And no, we aren't talking about football.
Who's gonna win? Warriors!
The cheerleaders work hard all season to keep spirits high for the crowd. Here, cheerleading is much more than just pom-poms. These young ladies are kicking, flipping, and cheering all week to make this look easy. But with honing these skills comes a lot of hard work and sacrifice.
It's really hard.
I agree. Especially when you have like tests and like practice the same day and stuff, it's a lot.
Or like when we paint house signs, like it's hard to paint the house sign, the locker sign, get to practice, do my work.
Yeah.
On top of cheering year-round for football, basketball, and wrestling, the Wyoming area cheerleaders are also active in other commitments such as student council, FBLA, science and history clubs, along with other sports. Varsity cheer coaches Rosalind Coyne and Rhonda Pisano say the team works hard, but as former cheerleaders themselves, the coaches understand why the girls continue to push themselves for their sport.
I've just always loved cheerleading. There's not anything I dislike about it. I love everything about it, to be honest.
There's nothing not fun about cheerleading. You're jumping around, you're happy, you're excited, you're getting people to yell with you. So it's, you can't be a sad cheerleader.
And with a team like this, that seems especially true. The girls all support each other through choreography, as well as their other cheer responsibilities, like painting signs for the football players' houses. The varsity team has 12 seniors this year, many of whom have been cheering together for years.
I literally have been cheering my whole life, so I don't know what I'm going to do without it, but
I'm going to be cheering in front of my parents.
I'll miss being with my friends.
I don't know. I feel like it's just a nice feeling. Like, it's like different. I've been cheering for a long time as well, so it will be different, like, because I'm not cheering in college, so it's like my last year forever.
Throughout the year, you can find the team together, practicing for games, but also waking up at 6:30 a.m. in the summer for practice, preparing for competition, as well as attending a cheerleading skills camp.
We run a tight ship. We expect a lot of them. We make sure that their moves are perfect and everything is perfect in a certain way that we want them, to look out there.
But the Warriors wouldn't have it any other way.
I love pep rallies, and Friday Night Lights are my favorite.
I like to stunt and try all the different types of builds that we do.
Like skills.
Mm-hmm.
As we get further into the football season, be on the lookout for some of the girls' favorite cheers.
Ooh. Okay, there's this one called FFI. It's a long one, but we do it at timeouts, and I like it. I think it's fun. Yeah, we always do it. I like the one, it's called Everybody Get Up. I think that one's a lot of fun.
As well as their favorite game of the year.
Rivalry week. Yeah, definitely Piston area.
So this week, when you support your favorite high school football team, make sure to cheer a little louder for the cheerleaders.
Thank you for watching the Sports Spotlight. We're the Wyoming area cheerleaders. Follow us on Instagram.
Courtney Harrison, Newswatch 16 Sports, Luzerne County. A lot of hard work for those girls, and a lot can be said for lots of the other teams. So let's take a look at our sports finale that James Pennington puts us together. He takes all the best cheerleaders, all the best clips of the marching band, everything that we send him. He puts it all together. I thoroughly enjoyed this one this week.
Yeah, it was great.
And he ended it on a bang. So take a look. Great stuff as always. Thank you very much, James, for that. When we come back, we're going to take a look at our Super 16 countdown for Week 8 when the Sports Spotlight comes right back.
Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight podcast. This is the time of our podcast where we go through our Super 16 countdown for the week. So I'm going to rattle off our new countdown for Week 8. Staying at number 1, of course, is Shamokin at 7-0. Number 2 is Schuylkill Haven. Line Mountain comes up to number 3. North Pocono and Berwick round out our 7-0 teams. Jersey Shore comes in at number 6. Troy at 7. And then Williams Valley, Wyoming area. Lakeland at 10. Trail at 11. Southern Columbia, Mifflinburg, Riverside, Pittston area, and Minersville at 16. Not too much different in the countdown this week. Kind of all the same teams we shuffled, just some of the players around, a couple of losses in there this week. But for you and I putting the countdown together this week, I guess what was difficult for you kind of to decide what, where to put teams this week?
Yeah, I don't think it was too terribly difficult. I mean, obviously, Jersey Store's still a great team. They've been playing tough teams, so I didn't think it was too fair to drop them, too far down. But obviously, you got to bump them down past some of these other undefeated teams.
Right.
It's a tough choice to make, but it's nice that we still have so many undefeated teams left this late in the season. And obviously, Mifflinburg's lost to Southern Columbia. You got to just bump them right below.
Right below them.
It's not too much movement, but I think that's expected at this time of the year.
At this time.
This is where the countdown doesn't move around a whole lot.
Exactly.
So, which we'll see how things shake out this week. I would say that we probably won't have too much changing after this week as well.
Yeah, coming from here on out, probably not too much changes. And like you said, we still got 4 undefeated teams, so there's not really going to be much movement, in the top 4 especially, but kind of those lower teams, like moving Jersey Shore down from before down to 6 now after their second loss of the season. Like that's kind of where I guess the point would be where you would kind of see new teams or more movement happening, but not really a lot happening last weekend with some of the games on the schedule this week. I'm not sure how that's going to change for next week also.
Yeah, we still have a few teams still in that bubble. They're still lingering down in there. We've not forgotten them. So we'll see if any of them can make their way into the countdown even for next week. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at our picks for this week to see how we fared when we come right back. Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight. We're at the very end of our show where we kind of rattle through our picks for the week. Steve's not here, so we're going to see how he fared. He was 25-11 coming into the week. He went 4-2 in week 7 and sits at 29-13. So this week, Steve's picking Delaware Valley over Valley View, North Pocono over Scranton, Berwick taking over Williamsport, Shikellamy over Bloomsburg, Southern Columbia, he has beating Montoursville, and North Schuylkill over Blue Mountain.
Ooh.
We'll see. I was 28-8 coming into the week. I went 4-2, and I'm now at 32-10. I am picking Dallas over Crestwood, North Pocono to beat Scranton, Berwick over Williamsport. I'm going to take Southern Columbia over Montoursville. I agree with, I'm going to go opposing Steve. I'm going to pick Blue Mountain over North Schuylkill, and I think Williams Valley will be able to pull it off over Marian Catholic.
Yeah, good picks, Courtney. Definitely good picks. I was 29-7 coming into the week, and I went 6-0 again last week. My second week, I went 6-0, so now I'm 35-7 on the season. My picks this week are North Pocono over Scranton, Berwick over Williamsport, Bloomsburg over Shikellamy. I'm also taking Blue Mountain over North Schuylkill. I agree with you there, Courtney. Southern Columbia over Montoursville. I think all 3 of us had that pick. And then I'm also going to take Williams Valley over Marian Catholic. I think they can get it done this week. But those are my picks for this week.
And you've been on a roll, so I will be surprised if you get any of those wrong. We really are. It's like starting to check up our things that we owe you. 6 in a row.
I know.
2 gold stars for 8.
What do I get for this?
Any final thoughts as we wrap up the show here looking at week 8?
Final thoughts. I cannot believe we're going into week 8. Is that actually that's for real? We're going to week 8 this week, Courtney?
I know. So I feel like we just started this whole thing. Week 8, there'll be a lot to to cover this week, and we'll see.
A lot to cover. I think last week and this week, I think probably had some lopsided games last week. I would expect kind of some lopsided games this week, kind of just looking at the schedule. And at this point of the season, all teams they're past midseason form. I mean, they're getting ready for the playoffs. They're getting those tighten up those little things that they have to do at this point to do what they need to do to get into postseason form. And that's kind of what we're going to see right now. I think we're going to see probably some more lopsided games this week, but looking forward to some teams hopefully staying healthy out there, definitely, especially at this time of the year. Starting to get colder out there now, but we're here now. It's we're almost at the end of the season.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams that are still on the bubble that really need some of these wins. So we might see some upsets this week as teams really need to get those wins in the win column and to secure their spot in the playoffs. Well, we thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Tune into the Super 16 Sports Final. On Friday night. It'll be the two of us here. Steve is still off on Friday, so we'll bring you all the games of the week. Thank you so much for watching. Harrison, Eve Hernandez, enjoy your night.